Well, hello there, everyone. Here, right here is like talk about here, for test ready plan, and this right here will be like talk about say for the Repaudian City, international shopping mall online. So if we're talking about for the Repaudian City, and yeah, I really don't even know if there's really any such thing, but let's just say that on average, to where there's like type of a shopping mall to where you can get a number of school supplies. One of those could be pens and pencils and notebook, paper, backpacks and handy planners and any other type of back to school sales and you have right here are these stars right here. So we're like Warren to where that yeah, when we are getting ready to take a test and thinking about having our thinking caps on and thinking that well the things that we need to have planned to be prepared for. So we're like Warren to where that yeah that which most of the time it seems like to where that whenever you study hard enough for a test and by the time you're given a test it seems like quite a few things are quite different, but on the other hand that we also learn to where if there's any type of requirement to where what type of writing utensils that more likely you may need especially. So let's just say if you have right here is like a star right here, which I know that like a few tests that they would have multiple choice questions it is, but on the other hand, that we warrant to where that yeah that if the situation comes up to where that with the test that which I know that a lot of students may more likely would struggle, which I know with me though that I struggle with a lot of times too, is like whenever you're getting ready to take a test, if it's going to be maybe map testing, then all you really need to do is write in maybe one or two paragraphs on a line about what's the best answer that you have, and mark A, B, or C. Mark one of those that best describes the answer, and I can remember one. I think it was during that I think third or fourth quarter one year that whenever I was in school tour that they would do map testing, and sometimes that yeah that they would ask you a question and sometimes that you would just mark whatever answer that you think well okay well I don't know, I'll go ahead and mark this right here for an answer. So yeah, the way I think about though is that with any type of testing, if it's going to be map testing or any type of testing that talk about say for test ready, right, the question goes by as to where what's the best option for where when we are testing on something and we're not quite sure what the answer is. So we're like Warren to where that yeah that you studied hard enough and like talk about for the Missouri Constitution test, or if it's going to be maybe the Nebraska Constitutional test, or that the Constitutional test maybe in Texas or Florida or some state like that, talking about like besides politics and as well as the elections, but let's just say that if the test were to be about maybe for back to school sales, or if it's about American history, other subjects like that. So whenever we are tested, that really about how many students look forward to that whenever finals come up and whenever they are being tested on something. So they may think that they study real hard, and by the time they're given a test, and which I know that quite a few of the tests are, say, multiple choice questions that they would show a picture or two that you have right here is like a thinking cap. They would like give you like a diagram to look at, which one of these pictures best describes, from if they're testing you on like a mathematic, like any type of a calculus or chemistry test, that which one of these would be considered one of the best goes into the altitude, or if it's anything about what best looks well, which one of these looks best for the correct answer. So we may pick between A and B, and I know that like say like the driver's test, that whenever you're given a driver's test that something a few things that may seem pretty simple, oh yeah, I remember the answer to that. And so it seems like to where whenever you are tested that it seems like to where there's no such thing as what you call yeah that you take a test and you're gonna get all of them right. So I know that and some of them may think that you are really going to be pretty lucky if you get all of them right, but on the other hand, too, there may be some tests. There may be some tests, one or two of them that you may take, and you may be able to get a pretty good score on there. So a lot of times it seems like tests, though, that even though if you do get them all right, they may think that, well, you weren't cheating, were you? You weren't looking at the answers, were you? You weren't peeking, were you? But on the other hand, it does say for peeking, but you have right here is like with the pencil though. And I can maybe use a pencil right here as an example to where that if you were to be holding a pencil right here, like with the mouse, holding the pencil tool, and just think about it. So like between while you're taking notes of some of the stuff, and then whenever you're looking at a test. So we may think necessarily to where that's something to help guide us, for anything that we're tested on. So whenever we think about it, is to where, yeah, are we going to be looking necessarily at the time from, oh yeah, it's been 15 minutes. It's going to take you about 2 minutes to decide on what answer you want to go with. So a lot of times we wonder to where why is it that we are timed, for how long it takes to take a test. And I know that a lot of times that whenever you do take a test, that they say that they do time you, but then on the other hand, that really, are they really going to complain about that, well, did you write the date on there? Well, because I don't know. I'm like, if anybody would probably think that whenever they're taking a test, and then let's just say if they wrote the answer in the wrong spot, then I guess they basically means like, yeah, you can always ask for another one. You can always ask for a new test guide. But on your hand, that if you make a mistake or if you mark the answer on the wrong spot or the wrong column or something like that, that they may say that that you go ahead and request for a new test, where they may say, no, it's gotta leave the answer the way it is, and more likely that yeah, would determine what the score is. But other than that, like I say for the test ready, is that the ways of how to get prepared to take tests. And I'm sure that anybody may think about, yeah, we're going to go and give it the best try. Give it the best try. Go ahead and take the test. Oh yeah, multiple choice question. Oh yeah, it's just a pop quiz. So I'm sure I remember those pop quizzes back up from whenever I was a freshman in high school. Actually, I can remember those, and it was like yeah, the pop quiz, and some of them that were kind of interesting and fun. So I guess not all tests are going to be hard and challenging, and to where that yeah, nobody's looking forward to them, especially to where yeah, that anybody probably say, yeah, I think I would rather I would rather hear the weather or go to the doctor other than to go and take a test. But at the same time, that it's like thinking about is like really that I'm sure any kids that may think about if it's going to be spelling or vocabulary test, any type of you know any test that may not have anything to do with writing. I'm sure that there's many of definitions, key definitions for talking about with tests though. But in a lot of ways that I usually think about it is to where that they're just trying to test your knowledge for updated. So just knowing about from what you do know now, and from yeah that they said that last time you done a test, a vision test or anything like that, it could have been about maybe 6 years ago. 6 years ago until now, that it's been a while since you've taken a test. So we're like warned to where any students that may say about, how do you feel a lot of times whenever you do fail a test? And I'm sure anybody more likely think is to where don't want to talk about it. I studied, but then I didn't do so great. So and I'm sure that any times whenever finals do come up to where that that it's really seems like sometimes it could be a headache to where that don't do so well even on a test, that things are just a little bit different. But then on the other hand, it seems like to where they go by the rules is to where study, concentrate to best of knowledge, as well as do not cheat. So they more likely think about is to where that anything that you may remember, if it's on notepad or anything else, and then I'm sure anybody probably think about what's the best ways of how to remember stuff. Is that if if you're going to be being tested on something, think about is to where that while you were taking notes, and then thinking about from anything that you may have talked about, anything that they were talking about, just think about think into your mind about that particular teacher, somebody in class that you were talking about, then I'm sure that that would help best, for what we remember as well as our skills. About that.